Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/MaliciousCompliance. In today's episode, give well in advance notice for vacation? You got it. STDs are cheaper than PhDs. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Give well in advance notice for vacation? You got it. Background: I had graduated with a master's in engineering degree in the USA. As an international student, I had 90 days to find a job or leave the country. So when I received my first job offer, the only in 2 months, I was very excited and took it, to stop the 90-day countdown. This job was paid minimum wage and was several levels below my qualifications as a master's degree holder. During this job, which I had for about 9 months, a few of my vacation requests were denied with the reason given not enough notice. As this company relied on having inspectors available for emergency projects, the company relied on keeping inspectors employed without pay till a project was called in by a client. They would have an inspectors at home without pay rather than them being on vacation. I needed vacation, it was month of October, to celebrate my girlfriend's birthday. This time I had wised up and asked for vacation 1.5 weeks earlier. The week I needed vacation, I followed up with my supervisor. He checked with the project manager, who proceeded to tell me the request was denied as I didn't give enough notice and also didn't follow up earlier so they could make arrangements for my replacement. I didn't get the day off to spend with my girlfriend. She was sad but was mostly okay. But to make up for the birthday, we decided to take a long vacation in December, 2 weeks long, to fly to the West Coast. Cue Malicious Compliance. I filled and sent my December vacation request in October to my supervisor and project manager. I copied the scheduler and couple other supervisors in the area, who I was assigned to from time to time. I made sure to follow up every week or two till my December vacation. I hardly got any responses, while some responses said it's still far out, and they will check when my vacation comes closer. Being sure my plan would work this time, we booked the flight, car and hotel/Airbnb for our vacation by end of November. December rolls around. I make sure to check verbally and by text message with my supervisors about my vacation request, and to remind them I show them the vacation request and the emails I had sent. All say they will check, but no one came back to me about the same. By this time I had been promoted to team leader, and would have a direct line of communication with the project manager when I was acting supervisor. I would casually slip inquiries about my vacation in phone conversations, and in emails when it related to my vacation timeframe. December 20th, 2 days before vacation. The company was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on retraining its entire workforce. They scheduled my training during my vacation. Yes, everyone knew trainings were going on, but you didn't get put on the list till and weren't notified till a few days earlier. I reached out to my project manager and informed him about the vacation I was going to take and couldn't attend the training. He was furious, yelling on the phone that he never received my vacation request, and I have no option but to attend the training. To which I say I put the request 2 months in advance, and that I even emailed him about the same. He mentions I never followed up, and that I cannot take the vacation. I mentioned the follow-up emails, the texts, the over-the-phone conversations, and my follow-ups with other supervisors and the scheduler. He says he will get back with me and hangs up the phone. I immediately open the work laptop and, which I now had as I was promoted, and forward the email conversations. I get a call from the scheduler. He was angry as well and says that never assume a vacation request to be approved only because you submitted it earlier. To which I mentioned the email from project manager I received in October, which stated, the vacation request needs to be submitted well in advance and needs to be followed up to be granted. He says my chances of getting the vacation are very slim, and I should better attend the training as only trained staff will be kept employed. Then he hangs up. I get a call from my project manager about 15 minutes later, who is calm by now, asking me to cancel my vacation. My girlfriend by this point was furious and heartbroken at the same time, I assure her we will be going on this vacation even if it means I have to quit my job. She wasn't thrilled with that either, as this would mean the 90-day counter to get a job would resume, and we won't be able to enjoy the vacation. To my project manager, I say canceling my vacation means canceling all the flight bookings and all reservations. He goes back in rage mode saying how unprofessional I was, and that I should have never made reservations till the vacation got approved. In my mind, whatever dude, last-minute reservations cost too much to afford and are never convenient. He says he will call me back. 30 minutes later, he had made arrangements for my training to be in the next class, which was tomorrow, 2 days till vacation. It was accommodation, food, travel, everything paid training. I agree, go to the training, get paid for 8 hours for both days of training, free food and everything. Training venue is 150 miles away, they pay us 0.45 cents per mile. Come back and go on vacation. During the vacation, I get calls from other schedulers and supervisors to show up at some client, which didn't need to, but I answered, just to get their reactions. Some of them were salty and said they will check with the project manager, that I might have to cut my vacation short. I let them know I am across the country, and if they are willing to pay for my losses in flight I would do that. Knowing the company didn't need my that much, I knew they won't go for it. Some of my supervisors told me to enjoy, and they would take care of stuff there. I quit in January. STDs are cheaper than PhDs. I work for a company that among other things does security testing and verification of hardware that has strict security requirements. Think payment terminals, or chips in credit cards, or set-top boxes. Given this is a niche market and requires a lot of expertise, expensive equipment and knowledge, our rates are high. The day rate for me could buy you an entire weekend with a high-class escort, as the client in this story once told me. But we have a stellar reputation in the industry to go above and beyond for clients, and are still cheaper than your product shipping late, or never. Most customers understand this. Large and established clients know the costs and don't ever mention it me. I have to check with the account manager to see how much he sold me for this time around. But we also serve smaller clients, startups or smaller companies that move into manufacturing/designing custom components or products that require our services as well. The company in question was a small company in Korea that made most of their money with a few legacy components used in alarm systems, among others. They had a monopoly on these components because larger manufacturers had since moved on, because for them the economics did not make sense anymore. This smaller company had made it work for a few years longer, but already saw the end coming and started working on a new version of the component. Problem was that most of their capable staff had since left, and the product they had been designing for the past year was in itself an achievement for how broken and insecure it was. But the owner of the company, who was the grand architect of this masterpiece, did not see it that way. This product was great, and would pass all certifications, and allow his company to rake in cash for another 20 years. I didn't know any of this going in. The account manager sold me on a run-of-the-mill job. Upon first day of review of the product, I found so many simple issues that I stopped the review and sat down with the client and the account manager to talk about changing the assignment to better serve their needs and make them actually pass certification on the first try. This often happens with smaller clients that don't always know the process to certification and find themselves lost in the process and the strict requirements. We generally take a more practical approach to help them out. As their end goal is certification, it makes sense to focus on solving the issues instead of spending 2 weeks on a report stating they have issues. While at first he was open to it, and we changed 2 weeks of testing and reporting to me, helping them getting things sorted. That way they might be able to hit their deadline with a more secure, albeit lower rated, component. But he quickly invited himself into every conversation I had with an engineer, as he was the grand architect, and belittled me continuously, mostly ending with sexist remarks. I've learned to ignore the occasion comment by men in my field by now, sometimes being witty and fast enough to sling a hurtful comment back to them. Halfway during the week, he suddenly brought in a potential new customer while I was working, not having mentioned it to me. I think because the company I work for is well known in the industry, he tried to put me on the spot with the customer to tell him how secure the product is, thinking the situation would make me just say the product was great to not create an incident. I said to come back later because I am doing very time-sensitive testing, and they luckily never came back. If he had pushed it, I would have probably said something to the effect of secure? Not at all, that's why I am here. I cannot lie about findings. It's my reputation and consequences be damned. At the end of the week we had an update meeting and Mr. Sexist only now told me that he changed his mind. He wanted nothing changed to product anymore, me gone, and a report on his desk by next week he can share with the certification body. He was able to get an earlier slot for review, and was going to use it. The product was fine, and he was done with me. After a short argument with me staying professional and trying to tell him he was only going to pass at a barely medium level with the fixes we put in over the last week, he told me that would be fine enough, and to shut my mouth. I was *TCH who talked too much and knew nothing of this field he was already in for 40 years, during the conversation saying that the escort he slept with 2 weekends ago was cheaper than my day rate, and she actually satisfied him. I had heard this one before, so without thinking told him something to the effect of STDs are cheaper than PhDs. He lost it and told me I was to write the required report for certification on the current product and nothing else. He did not want to see me at the office anymore. I said sure, I will send you an official request to provide me the documents, be sure to upload them as soon as you can so I can get on with it, and you'll get the report in the mail before end of day Friday next week. Unbeknownst to him, the fixes I put in over the week only existed in files on the local notebooks of the engineers. Most companies have proper version tracking / syncing software and workplace rules in place to handle this. But this company didn't, and only one engineer had added the changes to the main design documents during the week. So the official documents that got sent to my company that evening were the files from before I had added fixes with the engineers, with only 2 minor fixes that made it in, but were insignificant in the slew of issues in this product. Normally I would double check with the client and inform them about missing documents and the like. But he had clearly said in the email that these were the correct files. Sure, if you say so. Enter my malicious compliance. I wrote the report based on the current documentation, but every item on the checklist would color red with a big fat fail in the results column. He get his report on Friday and within the hour was on the line with my account manager, who I had told everything. He had his own issues with client, and he was on board with me, because he knew me for years and I had a stellar record with dozens of his other clients, and he basically told him that his attitude caused review problems, and he himself had insisted these were the correct files he wanted reviewed. In the weeks after there were some threats about lawsuit, but with us backing out on helping them further, given non-payment and the threat of lawsuits, his company never put out the product and 2 months later was bought for cheap by one of our other clients in part of a talent acquisition. The employees were fine engineers, they just did not have the particular skill set they needed for this component. The client who bought them paid our outstanding bills without any issue. After making use of our connections, they got them to sell us the rights and design documents for this particular component in exchange for a week of training. It had no value to them, and given the costs of our training it was bargain as far as they were concerned. As broken as the product was, it was too good to pass up for training purposes because of the myriad of basic mistakes in it. I had already written half the training material in the report for it anyway. I still give training from time to time with it detailing all the wrong ways of doing things.